All right.
There he is.
How are you?
Right on, man. I'm good. How are you?
Better than some, not as good as others.
Exactly. Well said. Well said. Well, thank you for taking some time here to join the Toddcast podcast in Vancouver, Canada.
Vancouver, I've been there before.
Oh, nice, man. Yeah, great city, hey?
Yeah, did a.
Yeah. So
Oh,
what would you prefer
yeah.
I call you? Xavier, Mr.
No,
Negrito,
like
Fantastic Negrito?
whatever's natural to you. I don't really do all that stuff.
All right, cool, man. Well, Xavier, thank you for
flows.
for joining us here. So it's on everybody's mind. How could it not be? How was your world through COVID? Like, did you manage to get by it unscathed? Like, talk about a couple crazy years and how that affects bands like you.
Well, I came out of it bigger, faster, stronger, smarter, more grateful. I don't know about bigger. That sounded good.
Sounds good though. Yeah, hell yeah.
I'm bigger,
faster, stronger.
Yeah, I came out really better.
Yeah, and I was going to say, because I've talked to a lot of people during the pandemic that have said that it not only did it stifle their creativity, it made it so that they didn't even want to create at all. But clearly that's not the case with you, as you've got a new album coming out in June, man.
Yeah, I went nuts. Well, I mean, I started off, finished my third album, released it, won like my third Grammy in a row. So I was like, gosh, man, I got to do something different. I gotta remain an artist. So the first thing I did is I thought, well, I'm gonna do a duet with about 12 artists that I used to listen to when I was a kid. And the first band I thought of was The Police. So I hit up Sting, and Sting comes over here to my studio, and we recorded a song that we both thought, this is cool. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna get Stevie Wonder, George Clinton, whoever I can get,
Come on, so you're putting together this wish list of like, who can I get to studio?
Yeah, so then about a couple of days later, pandemic hits. And that was it. So that, for the next year, I did like everyone else, just kind of tried to figure out what was the next move. And then I got a call to go to Atlanta to do a TV show. And that was great because there weren't really any gigs. So I was like, yeah, I'll do that show.
Hell yeah.
I do the show, and then I end up in a hotel room with a laptop, quarantined because there's no vaccination during that time. And I discovered that I'm 28% white. I mean, basically that's what happened. I mean, I get these ancestry links that someone had sent me. And, I saw these pictures on my mother's maternal side of these well-dressed African-Americans. So I'm thinking, isn't this the time of slavery? Like, why are you well-dressed?
Right.
Makes no sense. So I'm digging through the files. You ever been on there?
No, not me personally. No, I haven't. But I've got buddies who have done it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I see this paperwork. It says registered free Negroes. I'm like, registered free. How did that happen? I'm going to third generation, fourth generation, which is unheard of for us because how we got here. Sure. Fifth generation, sixth generation. Now I'm like, come on, man. I keep retracing it back till it gets to a paper in the seventh generation. One document, and then there's a name of a woman. It says Elizabeth Gallimore, presented in Amelia County Court for unlawfully cohabitating with a Negro slave belonging to Henry Jones, Virginia. And I thought, wow, these are probably exactly the people that I'm related to, rule breakers. Yeah. Breakers.
And as you're going back through time and going through history, is it kind of the same? Like, because you're what, one of 15 kids or something like that?
14, right? One of 14.
Dude, that's insane.
Well,
has it always historically 15. Been like that? Like, did you have a big family going back that way as well? Do you know?
I did. I was running into a lot of people. Yeah, there were large families on, yeah, my mother's maternal side. Yes. And, I, I understand why people did it back then. By the time I did it, my dad was just old. My
Yeah.
mom was young. My dad was 33 years older than my mom.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, he was 63. She was 30 when I was born. So
Oh, okay.
it,
Okay.
he
Wow.
didn't need much motivation.
Sure enough.
Guess what we're doing tonight?
That's great. And like from the from your siblings, like how many are also musically inclined, and like where did you get that from?
Well, you're asking good questions because none of them are musically inclined. So I
Wow.
always wondered where I got it from, and I found the group of people that I got it from, which have nothing to do with the story. I just found like, oh, there's a whole batch of musicians right there, and they live in Montreal,
Okay.
of all places. There's a artist named Pierre Perpal that I'm related to, and he was like a nightclub singer in Montreal in like the 50s and 60s. And so yeah, it's just all the things my dad was trying to hide from me, it's right there on the internet.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I get this story and I just get so inspired, the idea that you're talking about the mid 1700s, the idea that a white Scottish indentured servant woman who's basically free would choose as her partner a black enslaved man who happens to be my grandfather. I just thought it was the most punk rock shit ever, and I thought like, yeah, that feels like I understood myself. I'm telling you, I'm not exaggerating, probably more on a more profound, visceral level than I ever had in my life. I just said, oh God, I get it now. I'm always over here to the left and I don't want to follow, the what and conform and follow rules. And my
Yeah.
whole punk aesthetic comes from my seventh generation grandparents. So yeah, I just was like, okay, put all those Sting, all that stuff on the side. I'm inspired, which is the greatest thing for an artist, man, when you get inspired. And
Oh, of
so
course.
I went in, just started recording, and it was kind of like a speeding freight train. I kind of stayed out of the way and just got on it, and it took me to places that I could have sonically didn't know I had in me. Songs like I
That's
think
so
like you,
cool, dude.
yeah, like You Better Have a Gun or Venomous Dogma or Virginia Soil. They were just places I hadn't really been before. So it was pretty unbelievable. Or True Do, like, what is that? I still go like, what the fuck is that? Like, I don't even know what it is, but I liked it. I'm like, this is weird, man. So
Yeah.
it was really good to just let it happen, man. And I really needed it. And I think the message of like, what I like about this story is here we have two people. One's as white as they can be, and one's as black as they can be, and from two different sides of the spectrum, but they got something done. And I thought, hmm, I like that. They actually achieved something, whereas I kind of feel like, especially here in the States, it doesn't seem like we can get anything done. Like we are very entrenched in our respective ideologies and we seem to not budge. So that's what I liked about the story.
Yeah. No, it's a great story, dude. Great story. You're mentioning the Grammy wins. Like you're not only like the reigning, the defending, the twice defending,
What, three
the
times? Three.
well, that's what I mean. You're the reigning, the first,
Yeah, yeah,
defending,
yeah,
then
yeah.
defending again. You're three in a row.
Yeah,
So
three in a
four in a
row.
row
And it's
now
like, that's,
with White Jesus Black Problems coming out June 3rd.
I don't think they want to announce that title at the Grammys.
You
I don't
clearly
know.
are thinking of the Grammys at this point, like
Oh, I mean, that's all I was thinking about. Yeah, it's
a
like,
four-peat, right?
yeah, right,
So
exactly.
so
I
so
mean,
tell us about how do you find out about the Grammy wins? Like who tells you this stuff?
Well, you get nominated and then people vote and then you find out when everybody else finds out. And
No,
I
you
think I
don't find out in advance, really?
no, absolutely not.
Oh, I didn't know
You
that.
don't,
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
you don't find out in advance. Right there, you find out. So, first of all, about the Grammys, it's great. But I think every time I've made an album, I've been surprised. I go, okay, well, I'll go. Remember the first album was like what it was, very like poetic, this urban poetic landscape of this blues kind of feeling thing. And I thought, well, it's time to turn the guitars up, boys. And I made second album. People are they were like, oh my God, what are you doing? Is this a rock record? I remember because of Plastic Hamburgers. And then I think with the third album, it was just a complete turn away from that. So I'm always just going like where I think I'm needed.
Mm,
And I'm trying to push. I'm always trying to push and I'm always surprised at the Grammy thing. I'd be like, well, just like now, I'm feeling like, well, I think I picked a topic they don't want to talk about. Everybody's uncomfortable. I've gotten hate mail already from black people and white people, you know.
wow.
So that's cool. I mean, I feel like, it's you can't think of the Grammys, man. You can't really be an artist and think of it. I can't. It's something that like you get it for one day, you got it, you look at it, invite friends over, everyone has drinks and food, and then you put it away. And I don't mean on the shelf, I mean you put it away.
Yeah.
Because you just don't want to be thinking about that, man. I waited this long to become an artist and my being a middle-aged guy, I mean, going out on the street playing, it's fun to be an artist. Why would I ruin it by like getting like the industry in my head? I'm an old guy who gets to do what he wants. It's not bad, you know.
No, of course not.
It's not bad at
And,
all. You know,
and where does like winning the Grammy, multiple Grammy awards, where does that sit in like the career highlights? Can you nail it down to one career highlight?
I think for me, and I don't think of the Grammys as career highlights. I think the career highlight is finding yourself, man, and finding your place. I can't tell you, man, what that means to a human being, you know, being in your 20s and 30s and chasing it all the time and trying to get validated by this machine that never recognizes you. I
Hmm.
mean, Jimmy Iovine did give me my first deal. I was recognized, but
Through Interscope, yeah,
that,
that's Xavier.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
but that can beat a person up after 20 years of chasing that thing. I just gave up,
Mm.
quit, and I think my career highlight was quitting, regaining my humanity. Yes, and then you know, as a 46-year-old dude going out into the train stations, into the cafes, and just being extremely genuine and truthful to something that was calling me and not asking for anyone's permission, like, am I good enough? Or trying to, live up to their repressed fantasy of how, artists fit into the world. So I think that really is it. It's like, I can't tell you as a guy that's 54 now to be able to, just it's like being a grandfather and a teenager in the same body. I get to really be truthful. And if I think the Grammys is my highlight, then I failed. And I resort back to being the guy that was looking for it. The beauty is you're not looking for it. The beauty is
It
that
finds you.
it finds you and you go where you need to be. And yeah, you're not asking permission, it's just a beautiful place for an artist. And to not get stuck into that machine and worry about, oh my God, do I have a hit? Am I gonna have followers? Is this like that's to me that's lunacy.
Yeah,
And it
I
just
love that.
takes up space in your mind. So I get to be this middle-aged guy that makes these fun albums.
Yeah. What was the music like in your house as a kid growing up?
It's probably like my music now, all over the place.
Yeah.
Extremely eclectic and from jazz to um classical, African, Caribbean, you know, this very white radio that I would hear in Massachusetts. Like, oh, it's kind of rock stuff, you know, to the deep funk that I would hear occasionally because all this music was banned from the house. So, and then at 12, I ran away. So then I was in other people's houses.
Right.
I was in like foster homes, and those houses were all traditional African-American gospel, jazz, blues, funk, soul. Forget about it.
Okay. Okay.
So it was a
what was
very, oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
what was the first concert that you went to then?
Very good question. First concert I went to, remember I'm 54, guys, so don't laugh. I would have to say it was NWA in a roller skating rink.
No way.
I swear to God, Dr. Dre, Eazy-E.
Wow.
It's either that or Run. It may have been Run DMC, but the NWA one, that's a cooler answer probably. It was in
Pretty good.
1988, San Leandro roller skating rink. NWA with about 50 kids.
Crazy, right?
That's,
Like,
yeah,
wow.
that's the one that I remember, but I'm, you know, there's been other ones, but that's what I'm officially saying. Like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
It had a very punk rock aesthetic because that's kind of hip hop was on the fringe. And so at that time still,
Yeah.
they weren't, they were not mainstream yet.
Very cool.
Yeah. So that was but you know, I loved everything, man. You know, there used to be the place called the Gilman where I'd go see a bunch of punk bands. I didn't know you know, you wouldn't know the names of them, you know,
Yeah.
Acid Rain, you know, I don't know. I would go to like People's Park in Berkeley and trip out, you know, with psychedelic rock. I mean, that's the beauty of growing up in the 80s. There was everything. Everything was right there, man. And it was such a beautiful time. So I think I was influenced by everything. I think it shows in my songwriting and music production.
Yeah, for sure. And is it true that you snuck into Berkeley College of Music and that's how you, dude, that's
Well,
such
I
a
didn't
fucking
think of it.
badass story. Like you sneaking into school to learn something like that's punk,
Man,
man.
you know
Right
what?
there. That's punk.
Let me make a correction. It was UC Berkeley because I live in the Bay Area. So
Okay.
it wasn't the Berkeley in Boston.
Boston.
No, it was in the Bay Area. And yeah, you know, it's funny. The people, I just came back from a press tour in Japan, Italy, France. I'm like kind of jet lagged still. And that's like one of my most asked questions. I never thought when I was doing that as a teenager that was incredible, but it's an incredible, later on it
Dude,
became
it's a great
folklore.
story, man. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to learn. And where I was living, there was guns and drugs. And I was like, well, I'm not going to learn here. So I would go UC Berkeley. I remember I had like a shirt like this and a sweater.
Yeah.
And I'd, you know, hello, I'm here to practice. And they'd give you this huge key and you go in. And I just sit there and I was like, I don't know what this is. And I'd like touch it, but then I would listen to what the person next to me was doing. And they were just scales. I didn't know what scales were.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, that's why that was my musical education.
Wow, that's incredible. Xavier, I want to respect your time. I'm not sure honestly how much time I have with you. So
I don't know.
are you good for me to just pound through some more questions?
I think that what happens, they just come in and do like this. And
okay, perfect. Well, let's do that then. So let's get outside of music then for a quick sec here. What are you binge watching right now? What do you like can't get enough of?
Oh, you mean on TV?
TV
Oh,
stuff,
God.
yeah.
What am I binge watching? I don't know if I'm binge watching it, but I think I'm just kind of dabbling. I'm guilty of I have to say it, I have been listening to let me set it up first. I have been watching, or I would say listening to the Johnny Depp trial, and I'm going to tell you why.
Dude.
I couldn't sleep when I was overseas, and something about Johnny Depp's voice, like he kind of stutters and all, it was putting me to sleep. I'm not making this up. So I would just put it on. He talks for hours, and it was very good to get to sleep because I do listen to podcasts and stuff to help me sleep because I have a lot of trouble sleeping. So
Mm.
since I've been overseas, I want to say I've been guilty of listening to that because Johnny Depp, man, his cadence. And I never knew him as a guy that stopped and then kind of stuttered, and he does this thing, and it's just like, yeah. And so it was beautiful. Thank you, Johnny Depp. I made it to all my interviews because he put me to sleep. In terms of Netflix and stuff and Amazon, I'm just getting back home, and I was actually watching this thing called, let me say it correctly, Sezo, and he's a South African soccer player that was murdered right in his house, and I've been kind of binge watching episodes of that. It's absolutely fascinating. Like, South Africa, it's just completely different world from the world that we know, and it's just it's been interesting. So
Yeah.
I've been on that. Yeah.
You a big fan of sport? Like, what's your team? What's your sports?
I don't. What happened to me, man? I used to follow sports to the letter: basketball, baseball, football, boxing, fighting. But you know what? I had a kid,
Mm.
and I suddenly just stopped watching all that stuff. And I he's older now. He's just turned into a teenager. But I got into that habit of not watching that stuff, and I think I dragged him out to a Warriors game before I went to Europe. But nothing that I'm like following, man, anymore. But I used to be that dude.
Yeah, I was that dude for same thing, right? Essentially, once kids come into the picture, it's like, holy shit,
Right?
time is cut in half. Oh, it's cut in quarters. Oh my God, I can barely do shit I like now.
Yeah, and the thing that made me go to the Lake Warriors game is he was interested. I was like, whoa.
There you go.
He starts talking to me about basketball, and I was like, oh shit. All right, let's get back on that. But it's cool. It's healthy if you got time.
Yeah. Have you seen that? Speaking of binge watching, I was watching it just a couple nights back. The Summer of Soul.
Oh, I saw that on an airplane. Just brilliant.
It's like got to be one of the best, music documentaries ever made, ever.
I mean, I have to say this, man. We forget what Black music contributed to the world. Basically, you can just take what was happening on that stage, and so many people were influenced. So many bands. You look at Rage Against the Machine back there. Just that idea just grew.
Well, even Zeppelin.
Yeah,
how many riffs did they fucking straight up steal?
Well, the thing about Zeppelin, what I love about Led Zeppelin is that I think when they did it, especially I met Robert in person, that they were always very complimentary about doing. And I say that about the Stones too. I love when Keith Richards was like, man, I stole every Chuck Berry riff there was. I think it's great and good that he did. And I say good that people do steal. I steal from all the best too, in a way that, I mean, I wouldn't want to say steal exactly, but just the influence. And and I think it's a good thing, but you got to give credit. And I think Led Zeppelin did. I remember when I met Robert Plant, the first word out of his mouth was, he's like, Sly Stone and Johnny Guitar Watson, man, that's where it was at, And if you look at Rage, I mean, he's influenced by Jimmy Page, and I think it's all right, man. But we got to give credit though. That you're 100% right on. But yeah, I mean, I think it's when I think of, that's what I thought of. I was like, wow, Black music. Oh my God, like it's just so powerful, And it's like it gave birth to so many genres and influenced so many folks, and it's I think it's beautiful. It's a beautiful part about being an American. Kind of, with my story of my ancestors, it's like, wow, that's beautiful that we got together and we all touched each other, and this group got influenced by that group, and that group influenced that group, and it's just beautiful, man. It's a beautiful part of being a human being in a very diverse country, no matter how we got here. We're
Yeah,
here now.
yeah,
You know,
true
it's
enough.
like,
True enough, right? And
yeah,
I mean, like the Summer of Soul, like as if Questlove's not one of the coolest people on the planet.
absolutely. Yeah, I had the pleasure of meeting him and playing with them at the Grammy party. They played a couple of my songs, and it was great.
Mm,
Just nice guys. Everybody's. I forgot the guitar player's name of the band. Incredible.
yeah.
A
Wow, that's
great
cool.
band. A great guy, Questlove, and I'm really happy for him and what he's
Cool.
accomplished. I think we need guys like that who are going back into the vault and documenting and getting really interested in things other than themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, well said. All right, Xavier, I'm gonna wrap it up. One last question for you. It's not really a question, it's more of a story. So I want you to share a near-death story where you're like, holy crap, I should have just died now.
That's really easy for me. Well, there's one that people really know about, and there's one that people don't. So I'm trying to think.
Well, hit us with the one you don't like. Maybe the Coles notes are the one everybody knows. Because I don't even know that. And I did a shit ton of
Okay, well,
research.
here we go. Here we go. I'll tell you, I'll set this up good, easy. So I'm in LA. I'm on Interscope. So Jimmy Iovine gives me my first record deal. It all goes bad. I'm not happy. I can't get out of the record deal. I go to a party, a Persian Thanksgiving party. Right, I know. And up in the Hollywood Hills, everybody's partying, doing their thing. And the guitar player I was with, played with this guy, never made a record without him for 30 years. He goes, let's go. And I was like kind of pissed because I was having my warming up to this beautiful Persian woman, and I felt like there was some chemistry. And we were going to make some beautiful Black Persian love later. But
Yes.
this guitar player, he ruined all that. And I always remind him of that. So I was like a little bit pissed. I'm like, all right, man. He's like, let's go hang out on the strip. That means let's go hang out and meet people. I was like, no, I'm good, man. I'm going home. But I just wanted to get rid of him. And I went and I started I was a young guy back then. You'd meet a lot of girls. That's what we did.
Yeah.
So I went, hooked up, met this girl. And I was like, yes. Driving back to my place. I look over at her. She looked over at me. I'm still driving. Next thing I knew, I woke up. 3 weeks have passed. And I have a beard the size of Santa Claus, and my nails are very long. So yeah, I was in a car wreck, and I never saw it coming. I didn't even realize it happened. Flipped over all kinds of lanes of traffic, and yeah, I woke up 3 weeks later. So I thought, wow, I could have died. And I thought about that. I said, if I had died, that's a cool way to die, because I had no idea what happened.
Yeah.
So
Just dead.
there's a near death. You didn't know that one, now you know
I
it.
didn't know that one. No.
Now you know
Crazy,
it.
man.
Well, you know what? There's this is there's too much. It's just I can't even tell my story because of the volume, and it
Yeah.
keeps growing, especially with this new one about my ancestry. It's just, oh man, there's more stuff. God. So yeah, I get it.
Sounds like maybe a book in the future.
Yep. Like a book, yeah, maybe musical. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome, dude. Thank you again for taking some time here to join us in Vancouver, Canada. You're easy to find online. It's simply just Fantastic Negrito on Facebook and Instagram. It's Music Negrito on Twitter.
That's right.
White Jesus, Black Problems out on June 3rd.
That's right. Film and album.
Yeah, man. And that's it. I guess congrats on the Grammy wins, the soon to be released new album.
I
And
appreciate
we'll see you online. Thanks again, Xavier.
Absolutely. I hope to get back out to Vancouver again.
Do it. Love to see you live, man. I've been binging your stuff lately. It is fantastic, man. I dig your band a lot.
Thank you so much, man. Take care.